I'm going to attempt to build floating drawers even though I've never done this before. I did that completely wrong. The drawers are going in my laundry that I've been working on for the last few months. This is what it used to look like, and this is the new design. But I got quoted $6,000 for the cabinets alone, so I decided to build them myself, and it's been a challenging task. Time to butcher the cabinet. But I was able to move forward, and this is what the laundry looks like so far. So join me while I build the last cabinet for my laundry or lose my mind trying. I have a problem. It doesn't fit. You did it again? It doesn't fit. So today I'm making the floating drawers that are going on the right side of the washer and dryer, and I took measurements of the space and then I drew up what I wanted to make today. Basically, I'm making a box where the drawers are gonna go in, and because I'm a visual person, I like to draw it and then I break down each piece of the box with the dimensions, and that gives me my cut list of what I need to cut to be able to put it together. I hope that makes sense. To make the box, I used 3/4 inch birch plywood, and I cut everything to size following the cut list I made. So for the back of the box, I'm actually using MDF because I don't have any scrap pieces that are long enough to make the back. And it's just the back piece is not really gonna be visible, it's just to cover it. So I think MDF is gonna work well. So I have everything cut, and now I'm gonna do a quick sand with 220. I like sanding before I assemble it because it's harder to sand once everything's together, try to get the corners and all of that. So I'm actually just gonna sand before I put it all together. Now I'm ready to assemble the cabinet box, and to do that, I like using these 90-degree clamps which hold everything in place while I put it together. Except for that piece. I then added wood glue for extra strength and slid it in place. I just drew this line so I know where to drill for the screws. I'm gonna put screws to secure the sides here. And the reason I draw a line is because you wanna make sure that the screw doesn't go too far up or too far down. So I made a line like right in the middle of this, which is about 3/8. That tells me where I can drill for the holes. For the top of the cabinet box, I'm just using 2 strips to keep it square, but since it's going to have a countertop, I didn't use a full piece of plywood. Out of my entire laundry so far, making these floating drawers was my favorite part. I don't know why, but making this kind of makes me feel like I have stepped it up on my woodworking skills, and I have more confidence to build better and more challenging things. but I don't want to jinx it. What do you think? It's a box. But I'm actually pretty excited. It's huge. Like, I mean, I knew it would be big, but after I built it, it's I don't know, it just looks huge. So the last thing I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna do the edge banding. So I'm gonna finish all the edges so it doesn't look raw like that. It's gonna be painted white to match the rest of the cabinet, but I still wanna finish it so that way it has a smooth finish. Today I'm making the drawers that go inside of the box that I made the other day. And I was doing some measuring on all of the plywood that I have left, including my work table that I've been using, and I haven't been wanting to cut out of it because it's been so useful. Even if I use this entire thing, it won't be enough. I have to go get another whole sheet of plywood. Like, I can't believe that out of the million pieces of scrap wood that I have, it's not gonna be enough. Like, they're just not big enough. I have a lot of pieces, but they're not big enough to make the drawer. So, I'll be back. That's for a different project. So many nice people today. Is that it? Yep. And we're just gonna put it on the sawhorses. Oh, shit. Whew. Look at that nice wood. Okay, I'm back, and now I'm gonna cut all the pieces to make the drawers that are going in here. There's going to be 2 drawers, and just like I did with the box, I did a little drawing, and I made the cut list of all the pieces that I need to cut. But all the calculations, I did them before I had this put together, and I did change it a little bit just to make sure that it would fit. So I have to adjust this. I'm actually gonna measure and actually make this according to the measurements of the box. But before I do that, I wanna test fit this because I wanna super make sure that it's gonna fit before I go too far and ruin everything basically. So I'll be back. What is going on? No, that's not gonna work. Tony, I have a problem.
What is it?
It doesn't fit.
You did it again?
It doesn't fit. It's the trim though. It has to be because I test fitted the width of the bottom. I actually did test it before I put it together. If you watch my other videos in this series, you might realize that I've made a lot of mistakes.
and I could easily just cut those out of the videos and make myself look like I know what I'm doing, but I don't really want to do that because when I first started DIYing, I would watch a video on how to do something and it always seemed so simple because most videos made it look easy. And when I went to do the project and realized that it was actually harder than what it looks like, I would get frustrated and sometimes I wanted to give up. Anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is that sometimes a project isn't a straight line from A to B, but if you just keep going, you can get it done. And even if you get stuck, there's usually a way around it.
It fit! It fit! Thank God. But there's one thing I do have to keep in consideration. I made this box to go from wall to wall. By the way, it's not gonna be that high. I'm just holding it with these right now. But the drawers, they're gonna be 1/8 of an inch from the edge, which means I think it might hit the trim if I open the drawer. So I might have to like extend this side right here and just modify the size of the drawer that I was gonna make. I'm glad I caught this early because otherwise that would have been a problem if I went ahead and made the drawer. So I'm glad I test fitted everything before I kept going. So I just cut this piece to go right here. So it's gonna be flush over here and the drawer is gonna go from here all the way to the end, and that will give it enough room for it to open without hitting the trim.
After I got done attaching these pieces, I took the measurements to start making the drawers. This is the jig that I picked up at the store, and it attaches to your circular saw and it acts as a guide to make precise rip cuts parallel to the edge of the plywood, making it easy to make repeated cuts.
That thing works pretty good. Sanding time. So I'm almost ready to assemble the box, but I have to prep it to put the bottom on it, in it. And most times on a drawer box, people use 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch for the bottom, but I don't have enough of neither one of those. Like all I have is 3/4 inch, and this drawer box is so big that I just don't have enough material. So the whole thing's gonna be made out of 3/4 inch. My plan is to secure it with pocket screws here, and then I'm going to make a dado, do a dado, how do you say it? I'm gonna use the table saw to do a dado all around the bottom here so that the bottom piece fits flush with the bottom. Just bear with me. I'm gonna explain it as I do it, so if it doesn't make sense now, sorry. So what I was trying to say is pretend this is the side piece of the drawer and this is the bottom. I'm making a dado with the table saw here, and the bottom is just gonna slide in and sit there. And that's gonna be the case all the way around.
So the goal is to use the table saw to cut the dado, but the blade isn't wide enough, so I will have to do multiple passes. And I'm leaving 1/4 inch space at the bottom of the drawer, and the first 2 cuts I'm going to make at the beginning and the end of the dado, and then I'm gonna cut everything in between. The table saw left the surface a little bit rough, so I used a chisel to smooth it out as much as I could.
So now I'm gonna cut the bottom of the drawer. So, oh, where's my tape measure? And to do that, I wanted to have it together just so I could get the final measurements of the drawer. So I just measure the inside over here, which is 27.25, and then I add the depth of the dado, which is also 1/4 inch on each side. So that should be 27.75.
To attach the drawers together, I'll be using pocket screws and wood glue. To make the pocket holes, I'm using the Craig Jig 720 Pro.
What do you want, Misty? You want to keep playing? Bless you.
I forgot to hit record when I was putting the pocket screws on this side, but they're there, I promise.
You guys want to say hello to my neighbor? Look at this cutie. Look at this cutie. Oh, hi to you too. I'm sorry, are you jealous? Because I was giving her attention? Good girl. Okay, so I just have one more drawer box to put together and then I'm done for tonight. It's about to get dark, so I'll mount the drawer boxes another day, but I'm gonna put together the second box and then I'm done. It's freaking cold today. The last night didn't go well. I never put the second drawer together like I said I would because I was fighting with the first drawer. I realized I made it a little too big. When I went to test fit it, it was like really, excuse me. So I took it apart and just like shave it off a little bit. So I just spent the rest of the evening fighting with that and it got dark. So I just never got to the second drawer. I'm up early this morning and hopefully I can get this done.
I consider the first drawer I made my learning experience. While I was able to put it together and finish it, and I think that it looks really good, I made a few mistakes. When I got done putting it together and I knew for sure it was the right size, I decided to secure it with nails. But I eyeballed the distance of the bottom panel, and the nails ended up sticking up through the bottom. My second drawer though went a lot smoother. After I got the drawers all done, I was ready to install them. I got these drawer slides off of Amazon, which are soft close. I used 1/4-inch plywood as a spacer so that the drawer wouldn't rub against the bottom. I put the first couple screws while the drawer was inside, but then I found it easier to do the rest with the drawer outside of the box using the same 1/4-inch plywood spacer. The installation of these is pretty straightforward, but this being my first time, as usual, I ran into problems.
Okay, I think it works.
I'm using 3/4-inch plywood as a spacer for the second drawer to even it out, but if you're doing a project like this, the spacer size can be different depending on the cabinet size and the size of your drawers.
Okay, I think we're good. So now that everything works, I'm gonna be banding the top of the drawer because it's visible when you open it. I want it to look all finished, so I'm gonna edge band that. And I'm gonna do the drawer front, also edge band all the way around it. And this is gonna be painted white to match the rest of the cabinets. And then this is going to be finished with polyurethane. I'm getting ready to do the second coat of polyurethane, and the instructions say to sand it in between with 220 grit, but I found that when I use 400 grit, I do like a light wet sand with 400, and it makes it really smooth. Like, I really like the finish that it leaves when I sand it with 400 grit, so I'm gonna do that instead. Okay, cut. Before I paint the drawer fronts, I want to put them on just so I can get the spacing correctly and it's just easy to install them. But I have to space them out evenly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure, you see the space here? That space needs to be divided by 3, 1, 2, 3. So I have to have the same amount of spacing in between the bottom, the middle of the drawer fronts, and the top. And the drawing, I calculated it to be an 1/8 of an inch reveal, not counting like that extra board that I had to do earlier. I'm gonna figure out a way to space this out and like hold it in place so I can screw the drawer front to the drawer. Okay.
A while ago, I saw in a video that you can use playing cards to space out the drawers, and I always wanted to try that trick.
So I figured out that what I need is about 10 cards high. It's about 10 cards high, so I divided all these stacks into 10 cards each. And now I'm gonna stack the drawer front. There. And then this one. That should be pretty even. Yep, we're good. One more to go. It's getting dark. I hope I can get it done before it gets completely dark in here. I did that completely wrong. Let's try again. I wonder if I can just...
I couldn't clamp the top drawer like I did the bottom because I didn't have enough space for the clamp.
I can't see. So what I did here is I screwed this one in place while I was holding it instead of clamping it, just because it seemed a little bit easier that way for this top drawer. So I'm just gonna drill the other 2 holes. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna hold it in place with the cards as a spacer and drill the screw through, and that should have the same result. Like, it should be in place, it should be even. Let's hope. Ow. Why? Nope. So I noticed that it was slightly off right there. So now I gotta adjust it and fix it. All right, so I'm doing the same thing, but this time I'm actually clamping it to the top here so it doesn't like shift or move, because I was just holding it with my hand last time. I feel like I'm almost done now. Almost there. There was times that I felt like I was never going to finish this project. But now all I have to do is paint the drawer fronts. I also have this little built-in, not little, but this hidden cabinet behind the door that has to be painted because now it looks weird because it's a different color. And I have to mount the drawers and I have to cover this somehow, but it has to be accessible because there's an outlet here, they're plug-in for the dryer. Like I can't just cover that permanently. So somehow I have to make it accessible. Then I'm gonna build a countertop for the floating drawers and some finishing work. So the trim at the top, the handles. I got the handles for this, let me show you. Look at them. Aren't they so pretty? Look, they're gorgeous. I love them. Anyways, I'm excited about the little things, but I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Next video, I get to do all the finishing touches and you get to see the final reveal. And I am so excited. So excited.